Hey VC, so I'm going to jump on a thread here, haven't done this before. Good buddy Steve Westman has started a video of 10 best sounding female artists in my collection. So great idea. Incidentally, Steve, this has been really good because it's made me realize the gaps in my collection for sure. I do have a few to show and to share, but definitely need to add a lot more. And the first one I thought of right out of the gate, my favorite, Jillian Welch. So Jillian Welch, this is her 2011 album. This is a 2017 US repress, pressed at QRP, Stephen Marcussin mastered. Incredible sounding album sonically, and just her style, the folk Americana thing, hits every time. I love all of her albums. I'll probably end up being a completist for her collection, but right now this is the only one I have, and it's great. Great artwork, great sound. Check it out if you haven't heard that yet. Really grateful that I got this in the collection. Queen of Soul, how could you not be happy with having this in the collection? This is an OG Canadian pressing, 1967. This was her 10th album overall, but this is the first one that was on Atlantic. I remember researching this for an Insta post that I did, and it was really cool when I read that Jerry Wexler, the producer for this album, was saying that once they laid down a track, everyone rushed into the recording, the room in order to hear the playback because everyone was just so enthralled with her voice. It was so perfect, right? Anyway, can't go wrong. I need to find more of her albums for sure, but this is a great start and everyone should have this album. Best songs on this, I Never Loved a Man the Way I Love You, Change Is Gonna Come, the Sam Cooke song. So great songs there. This is a little bit of a cheat because she is my favorite female vocalist out of the, one of my top 5 female vocalists for sure, but there's a band with her. But nonetheless, Grace Slick from Jefferson Airplane. And this is Surrealistic Pillow. This is a 1967 OG press. Well, it might be a second press, Rockaway pressing. Yeah, first time I heard her voice, Somebody to Love and White Rabbit. They are the tracks that still get the most attention for sure. I haven't read her book yet. Let me know if that was worth a read. If you've read her autobiography there, I definitely want to get into that. She was awesome. What a powerful female voice. Incidentally, this whole thread has been super cool because I'm kind of understanding the kinds of female vocalists that I'm kind of attracted to, and ultimately it seems as though I have a pretty good variety, and I like that, so I'm gonna keep that going and just get more albums from these individual artists. Dollar Store or Dollar Bin Find, Roberta Flack, her first album. So we all know her from her later work, Killing Me Softly and all that stuff, but this was her first album, 1969 release or debut album. This is just a Canadian, like a 70s reissue of it. Still like really good. Quiet Sound Floor actually sounds pretty decent. Very soft, soulful voice. If you know her, you know her, and it's just something you can put on and just leave on and just not get tired of. There's no listening fatigue with Roberta Flack. Favorites tracks on this one. I do like just kind of partial to Leonard Cohen, so I like her take on Hey, That's No Way to Say Goodbye. But great catalog, another artist that I just need a lot more of. Again, kind of a bit of a cheat, but not really, because the female vocalist is the star of the band, along with her sister, and that's Heart. Okay, so Crazy on You, great tune. A lot of awesome guitar work in a lot of the Heart's catalog for sure. But yeah, Ann Wilson, the lead vocalist, incredible chops, right? Super powerful voice. You know, I talked about soulful, slow voices and Americana folk voices, and then you got someone who I think there was a ranking of, you know, some of the best metal voices or hard rock voices, and Ann was on that list, right? So yeah, Crazy on You is probably my go-to for sure from this album. I think it demonstrates her vocals the best. Well, there's tons of tracks that do. But anyway, this was released in 75, actually released in Canada in 75 when I was looking at research on this one. Apparently it was recorded in Vancouver, so super cool. And this is an OG press, Ken Dunn mastering, so really good sounding album. Again, Ann Wilson from Heart. Definitely check that out. One of the first, probably the first album I got from a female vocalist, Carole King, Tapestry. So who doesn't know this album, right? Everyone knows this album. Great tracks on this. This is a 70s Canadian reissue, and the album itself was released in 71. One of the best selling albums of all time. And ultimately, yeah, I don't know, there's not really a bad song on here. Like, this was her breakthrough best album. I Feel the Earth Move and Will You Love Me Tomorrow, my favorite tracks on that particular album. Carole King, Tapestry, great stuff. Another dollar bin find. Jack was in rough shape. The wax is pretty decent. This is 1967 US OG Monarch press. So this is Carla Thomas. So not a lot of people know about her, but I saw, and I didn't know about her at all either. And then I saw that it was on Stax, so I'm just going to pick it up anyway. Anything on Stax, I will definitely pick up for sure. So this woman started performing at a very early age. I think she was like 10 years old when she was doing like, I don't know if it was a radio show or something. I forget now, but ultimately she was performing and going to school, and you know, really a hard-working woman with an amazing voice. And they call her, there's something in the liner notes here, calling her like the queen of Memphis soul. So not the queen of soul, because that would be Aretha, I guess. But so anyway, great album. Not her most popular album. I think this is her fourth studio album. She did some work around the same time with Otis already, and actually her and Otis did a collab album, and it actually ended up being Otis's last album before he died. But anyway, great stuff. Just another awesome soulful voice. Again, Memphis soul, if that means anything to you. But really good stuff, and hard to turn off, right? Kind of has a bit of a Motown vibe, so just really puts you in a good mood. Anyway, Carla Thomas, maybe dig deep for that one. I mentioned Joan in another video. Yeah, big fan of Joan Baez. I chose a different album to show this time. Sonically, that other album I have from Kraft, her debut album, is the best sounding Joan I have here. This one's a little crackly. It's a live concert, and a live concert from I think in *62. So not like it was the best recorded show, but outstanding and really cool. Just her and the guitar like the whole time, or whatever. Like it's just, and I think what really hits me about this stuff, and again we're talking '62 here. You know, she's covering really old songs. Like I'm not sure if I have this right, but there's songs or traditional songs that are like preceding the 20th century, right? So she's really digging deep and finding different material, as well as modern day topical material. Like I think one of the best songs on here, or one of the more common ones that people look to when they talk about Joan and her political side of things is What Have They Done to the Rain? But my favorite ones are Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You. She didn't write that song, but she covered it, and then of course Zeppelin made it famous, so that's how I know it. But I do love hearing her sing it. And Pretty Boy Floyd, so another classic kind of folk song, right? So Joan Baez, another superb female vocalist in my collection. And I couldn't help but show this, Patsy Cline. Again, not really a big country artist type person, but Patsy Cline kind of hits more of a nostalgia kick for me. When I was going to and from school, my mother would drive me and she would have this tape in the car. And so my sister and I pretty much have this track list memorized and all the lyrics and everything, right? So one of the biggest selling female country vocalists of all time. Probably don't know a lot about her, to be honest. I just know this album and those songs. I think there's even a biopic out there, which I haven't even seen yet. But great vocalist, and you know, just a great story behind her that I have to kind of learn a bit more about. So for now, the greatest hits will do, but obviously there's a lot more to that catalog that I need to know. This is just a reissue from 1980. Best tracks, Walking After Midnight and She's Got You, which is kind of a heartbreaking song, but really good, and she sings those songs so well. And we'll finish with probably what everyone expects, and if this thread gets a lot of legs on it, I'm guessing we'll see this album a lot, and that's Joni's Blue, right? So Joni Mitchell Blue, Canadian artist, gotta love that, although this is a US pressing, an original US pressing, Santa Maria pressing, which is kind of cool that I stumbled across this. It's her fourth studio album. Looking into the research on this stuff here, you know, it's interesting. She was doing this album when she had broken up with Graham Nash, and then she was in Europe for a bit, and then she met with James Taylor, and anyway, so a really emotionally heavy time in her life when she crafted this album. And yeah, it's ranked, like consistently ranked as, like, I don't know, top 10 albums of all time for the 20th century, something ridiculous like that. Deservedly so, of course. But anyway, Joni Mitchell's Blue, California, River are my favorites on that one. But you know, it's another album you can just put on, good Sunday morning spin, and just kind of sit there and take it all in. So that's it. Thanks, Steve, for putting this out there. Steve's got an amazing channel. I'm sure you know Steve Westman's channel. A lot of great interviews that he does, and so I'm really proud to jump on this thread. Okay, spin it off, spin it loud. We'll see you around. Thanks, guys.